Addington News, welcome to the Brecon Winning Owners Bar, Darren, off the back of an excellent race meeting last week.
Yeah, look, the fields were small, which was a wee bit disappointing, but the turnover was okay at 12,000 a horse for 70 odd horses. Just under 900,000 plus some extras that come in obviously with pick six and things. Really good thing was the GBR was 23.1%.
Right.
It's about 212,000, about a $25,000 profit.
Yep.
So quite pleasing because we had a couple of horses that were very well backed. Cody Banner, backed in from 11s I think to 5s and won the race, and Sporty Charlie in
Massive
the last
move.
race. Yeah, 14s into 5s, and I guess the bookies did a pretty good job there balancing that with the Mark Purdon horse.
A Better You, yeah.
A Better You, and managed to trade their way out of it, which as we've said, the bookies were reliant on them doing a job for us, and they have hits and misses as well. But no, really pleasing with the effort last week.
All right, before we get into tickets, cup and that sort of thing, there's a couple of events happening here at Addington. One is Blue September, which I actually sponsored Todd Mitchell. Didn't do much of a job last year. I think it only cost us about $300. He needs to drive a few more winners, but no, he's only driven 4 cup winners. But yeah, hopefully he'll do better in September. But Harness Racing New Zealand really putting together a great promotion around that.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Courtney Buchanan in charge of that, the Harness Racing New Zealand, but the whole team over there doing a really good job. They've got a good crowd in this week.
Yep.
It is for a very, very good cause, as we've seen, and a whole lot of videos from their ambassadors also coming out on the HRNZ site. So have a look at that either on their Facebook page, Harness Racing New Zealand Facebook page, or on the website. And we're pleased to have them here on course on Friday night.
Yeah,
I believe it's a sellout.
Yeah, it is, and also sold out is the night for Murray Edmonds, which doesn't surprise me at all. One of the great guys of our game, and people wanting to really get behind that. So that's the 22nd. You can still donate memorabilia and stuff if you want it to be part of the auction, but that's also the first night or the first heat in the sire stakes that night too, a maiden sire stakes heat, so it'll be a good program. But yeah, the industry really getting behind the Edmonds family, which have been such an integral part of Canterbury harness racing and harness racing across New Zealand.
Yeah, and the fundraisers are a really good way of operating. We've also got one towards the end of September, which we'll talk about later on, Stable to Stirrup, for rehoming standardbreds after they finish racing, but that's coming up as well. So we try and do what we can to reduce some of the costs so that there's some profit and all of that as we go forward, and they're proving very popular, and as you say, no surprise that the one for Murray's gone really well.
Right, ticket sales, IRT New Zealand Cup Day. Here we are at the Addington homepage. Walk me through tomorrow being the 1st of September and how you're going to be able to purchase your tickets.
Yep, so you have to purchase them online, that's the first thing.
Yep.
That's how it works, you purchase them online. Addington.co.nz is all you need to know. We always have racing and events. There's a separate button here for Cup Week, which will take you to this page here, which has all of the information that you will need. The ticket wait list that sits on here for that one. The ticket wait list.
We're still learning this, by the way.
We're still going good. The ticket wait list will switch to buying tickets now tomorrow, and that's basically all you need to do. So you come in on the front page, go to Cup Week, and follow your nose through there. You buy them online. Tickets will be issued after that, and all of the information's there about
It's a really simple process, though.
It's simple, yeah.
It really
100%.
is. All right, nominations for our features being the IRT New Zealand Cup, the Renwick Farms Dominion, and also the Showday Futurity, which is of course Philip and Glenys Kennard. So yeah, they close on the 8th.
They close on the 8th. Majestic Cruiser and Cast No Shadow.
Yep, are amongst the noms.
They're already amongst the noms. We've already had a chat today with Moran about Lochinvar Arts, so that's pretty likely.
He starts this week again, so yeah, he's on the road.
And working with IRT around the transport of the horses, which isn't easy in this COVID environment. They're working with that. Anyone that's looking to be flying a horse should be talking to IRT as quickly as they can to try and help with that situation. It's not easy. And there's some flights that aren't happening, so they're working very hard to make that happen.
Darren, there's some serious racehorses going to the trials today. Cooter, Franco Indy, Muscle Mountain, a whole lot of the Rolleston-based Mark Purdon, Hayden Cullen team, Krug's there. we're starting to see a real progression towards Cup Week this year.
Yeah, the race meetings so far have just been a wee bit down on numbers, but they're coming.
It's about to change.
They're coming, and as we know, and in all fairness to a trainer, they can't put a horse out on the track here if he's not quite ready, because it will undo them. So they're working through it, and as we've seen with Crew coming into the course last week, just have a bit of a black round and make sure that he's on target and ticking over to where he needs to be. But Harness Race New Zealand's site, hrnz.co.nz tonight.
Yeah,
I'm sure
have a look at those trials.
It'll be hammered to have a look at those trials.
Yeah, definitely. Well, horses like Alta Wise Guy, who of course won the Kaikoura Age race here and went on and won the Invercargill Cup and the Central Otago Cup. I mean, yeah, there's some really serious racehorses coming out, so looking forward to that. Right, from last week, we've got a chance to review a couple of things. Before we have a look at the videos for those, here's the Ultimate Race Book and the summary of last week, and have a look at the figures around Midnight Dash. Home in 157.5, 56, 63, 27, 83. That's his time equivalent, Darren, which is essentially if he was on the markers. A brilliant training performance to get him back in a fresh condition and be able to win that race.
Yeah, 100%. Sporty Charlie, we see in the last race, home in just under 26 seconds for his last quarter. One of the things I always have a look at with this, Greg, apart from the rest of the data that's on the site, is just the fastest first 200 metre races, particularly in the stands. So you know that a horse in a standing start will begin quickly and put itself into a position to be competitive, even if they're perhaps not the best horse in the race. They can put themselves in one of those positions, and obviously you want to know what burns off the gate quickly and can do the same thing. But I think we're going to have a look at a couple of the feature races from last week. The first one, of course, the XEM Sport Basil Dean, and we're rapt to get this under the way, and the trainers that gave us a hand with it.
Yeah, absolutely we were. Majestic Man got off the gate pretty quickly, as did the Dominator. We'll just fast forward this for you as we do such a thing, with just on about 600 metres to go. This is where the race really changed, because the Dominator had been in front there, and Majestic Man in the trail, Enhine Park, and here's Midnight Dash sitting in the beautiful spot at the 1-1. Craig Thornley starts asking the Dominator to go here, and unfortunately he doesn't respond like he wanted to. This put Majestic Man in a power of pain. Enhine presses forward, Midnight Dash is right on his back. Don't forget the little horse that could has been in all of the Group 1 races, and Greg and Nina have said all the way through eventually he'll win one of those big ones because he'll be in the right spot. Well, this wasn't such a big race. The Basil Dean is a nice race, but it's not a group race. He got that run this time. He had the momentum. He got held up behind him. By the time he got to the inside, this horse had the momentum up. He's got a length on him, and to be fair, he had his chance probably in the last 150 if he could have sprinted, but he's a genuine group horse, this horse, so he got the win there and did it very nicely and thoroughly deserved to win the Basil Dean.
And what a good run by Sue Princess, well out of its grade.
Fourth.
Helped us with the field, and admittedly it followed that line round. But she's not that far away, and we know she's a bit of an enigma. She does things wrong at times, but when she's on song, she's pretty smart, Greg.
All right, absolutely she is. She's in a 1980 this week. She'll be hard to beat in that. Let's have a look at the Allied Security Morris Holmes Vase, and what was most crucial about this race, Darren, was not the start, although we will see the eventual winner here. He's a Sport Miss away. Inside the first lap, there were 5 lead changes. Now this race traditionally, as we catch the start here and see what unfolded, the horses that actually finished 1, 2, 3 ended up last. Now he's normally a good beginner, so him galloping here, I know what Colin would have been thinking, what are we doing? Why has he done this? He settled down, he won it, that horse was second and that was third. So they settled in the 3 last positions. Now normally in an early season race, that would be curtains for most of them. But as we roll the tape on here, and get it to inside the last lap, here's Labour making his move to get outside Heisenberg. Further back in the field, Colin Philby hasn't spent any petrol here at all. So he sits 3 back on the outside and is sitting in a beautiful position, and the Falcon is directly behind him. So as we wind the tape on just a little bit further and we get it to inside the last 400 metres or thereabouts, Heisenberg's under pressure here. Labour, who's such a great stayer, first up, phenomenal performance really from him, and Colin de Philippi just easing underneath the Falcon as they turn for home. Now, he sprints very quickly here, Darren. He won his first 5 races in a row and just jumped straight up the grades, and it just took him a wee while to handle the next step up, but the way he's flattened out here and got to the line, got past Labour, withstood the late challenge here of the Falcon. He's in for a very, very good campaign. Whether that campaign includes the New Zealand Cup, Darren, I'm not sure, because he may well choose that this year he's only a 4-year-old, and therefore is it the right year to put him into the Cup. Colin and Julie will make that decision as we continue to learn a little bit about how this works. And you know, essentially this race here was a great stepping stone for him to indicate whether he was up to this grade, and I think we can clearly see that he is.
Yeah, look, I think there was that early burn with a number of horses in the lead changing. One of those horses was Smithy's Terror.
He was excellent in 4th.
And he's run 4th. The rest of the horses have really suffered from that early speed and dropped back through the race with those 3 finishing over the top, and he was still there in 4th place. So
the other horse from the Dunn stable that went pretty well, Steal the Show, he was the one widest out on the track, Bob, but pretty happy with where he finished.
Yeah, so I think there's plenty to look at there. As we say, all of those videos are on hrnz.co.nz. Have a look at them. Have a look at theurb.co.nz, theurb.co.nz, and you can look at all that information. As well as it being a review piece, it also obviously looks at the preview, and all of the information's there for this week already.
The Renwick Farms Ordeal Cup is next week, alongside the Avon City Ford New Brighton Cup, so we'll do a big preview of those 2 races, and the race you're going to leave us with at the end of the preview today will of course be the Ordeal, which was won by that good mare Destiny Jones.
Yep, and we've got some music and spectators next week, along with the Letherby Racing promotion, and the rest of the building's already full. So it's going to be a bit exciting next week. And there was a good crowd of spectators after the races the other night. So
yeah, there definitely was.
Good.
We're going to have a look at the full preview shortly. Coney Island Lou will win race 2, number 3. I think it's a pretty smart horse out of the Dalgety barn. And Whiskey Cavalier, wasn't he good for his first up for Kyle Cameron? I think he'll take a lot of beating in the last. We'll go and do that full preview for you now. If you want to stick with us, see if we can't find all 8 winners.
All right, we're going to get into the full meeting preview. A big event on course, and a number of these sponsors been with us for a wee while, so it's an important night for them as well. Race 1 is the Geeson's Wines Mobile Pace 1980, and we get underway at 5:52, Greg.
Yeah, I thought the Rage would be really hard to beat here, Darren. First up run was okay, Bob, but expected a big run. Carter Delgetti drove on that occasion. That was down at Oamaru for the Kurau meeting, of course, with natural improvement. I think he's a pretty handy horse, this, so he can take out the first. He'll be favourite, but I think he can win. Best Trio keeps going good races. Has a nice barrier draw. Johnny Morrison can just sit there and smoke his pipe, and he can really finish his races off. Of course, he's trained by Dean Taylor. Rita Bonita, part of the Dunn camp that's flying at the moment. And I'm not talking about Robert and Jenna. I'm talking about Jeff and James. You've got to put them in. Everything they're lining up at the moment is racing well. And they've got Cab Calloway in the race too, who's been in terrific form and darted up on the inside last week and wasn't that far away. He's got barrier 1. I'll mark them 3, 2, 11, and 1 in the first.
Just an 8-race program, so just remember that's the early quaddie, race 1. Race 2 is the Vivace Espresso Mobile Pace 1980 at 6:19.
Yeah, inside draws again here should be to the 4. Coney Island Lou, excellent run on debut. Charlie Brown's franked that by coming out and being too good again. I think from this barrier draw, Blair Orange will be pretty positive, and yeah, I think he can take this out. So that's race 2, number 3. To beat Mickey Bennett. So he had the 2 runs, Son of Always Be Mickey, trained by the Telfers. That's Steve and Amanda. Of course, they lead the premiership at the moment by about 11 or 12. Should be really hard to beat in this. Drawn to the outside of Coney Island Lou. That's probably the reason I went that way. James Cagney, not the worst for Gavin Smith. Close up behind Raging On last time. That was at that same Oamaru meeting. And More Gooder wasn't too bad here last time. Went forward, got the front. May well try and adopt those tactics again, although it won't be as easy as perhaps it got there last time. So I'll mark them 3 here to beat 4, 2, and the 5.
Race number 3 is the Thermo King Handicap Trot 2600 at 6:45. And Greg, Zach Butcher just starting to get a bit of momentum down here, picking up drives throughout the cards as well.
Yeah, driving really well. He finally got a win with Giselle a couple of weeks ago, which was of great relief to Zachary. and then he picked up a couple of places again last week, and he's driving well, and I'm sure that will only continue for him the longer he continues to come down here to Canterbury. I thought Matuatana would take beating. It's an unusual preparation for a Paul Nairn runner. So often we note that he brings his horses to the track without trialling, but he's taken Matuatana to the trials twice and has been too good in both of those. So I'm expecting a pretty forward showing for him first up. And obviously these horses will be taking the next step towards next week's Renwick Farms Ordeal. So yep, I think Matuatana can win this, and you might get an each-way price about it. Mataderos was backed off the board last time. John Dunn indicated that happy with the way he's trotting, and well, that eventuated because he galloped not long into that race. He'll be better for that run. He was pretty fresh, and we know he can run. He ran second in the Dominion in that sensational time behind Sunday Sun. So I'll put him in. You definitely want to have Oscar Bonavina. It won't be easy off 45, but he'll make that up pretty quickly, I think. So he's a first four player, and you can't knock the form of My Moments Now. She just keeps on going great races. So I'll go 3, 6, 7, and 4.
2 horses, of course, in that race. Greg out, and Now's the Moment. What a great broodmare she's been. And My Moments Now and Oscar Bonavina. So
yeah, terrific family. Yep, it has been.
Race number 4, really loyal sponsors to the entire harness racing industry, particularly in Canterbury. The Commodore Hotel, 3-year-old mobile pace, 1980, and it gets underway at 7:10.
Yeah, Darren, good race, isn't it? Really good race. Be a race that you'll look back after the Cup Carnival and go, yeah, I saw that coming almost 2 months ago, or over 2 months ago. So Don Murray's come a very long way in a short time. It's not going to be easy from that draw. He's not the easiest of drives, but he just keeps on winning, Darren. He's just got a big, big motor, and he's not going to win every start. I'll tell you what, he's going to give you a run for your money. So I'll go for him on top of Magic 4, who was excellent first up. Beat Whiskey Cavalier, who I think will go close to winning the last race. This is another step, though, but he was good enough to beat Akuta, Franco India and the like, and the Harness Million up north. So he's a pretty fair animal. He'll give Don Murray something to think about here. No Terror's done nothing wrong. First up run good. Second up simply too good for them. Jared O'Reilly takes the drive this week, and Mossdale Ben is always a horse that I've thought will go a wee way. He's trialled up nicely for this, winning that most recent one at Rangiora, and he'll be pretty competitive in this too. Good race though. Excellent form guide for upcoming features, 7, 4, 5, and 6.
Race number 5 is the feature, the first leg of the Lake Quaddie. The John Paul II Centre for Life handicap pace, 2,600, and we get underway at 7:40.
Yeah, it's, again, an excellent contest because the 2 best horses in the race have to start off 30 metres, Mikey Maguire and BD Joe, a Group 1 winner, of course. Mikey missed out last week in the Allied Security Morris Holmes Vase, but his prior form was excellent. He got the front, but then 4 others wanted to take the front there, and so he ended up a wee way further back than Sam would have liked. In saying that, he was off the bit a long way out in that race, and yeah, he'd need to lift off that, although they're lining him up straight away. So obviously Fred Fletcher's happy enough with him. So maybe in that instance, Mikey Maguire might have, or BD Joe might have the advantage over Mikey Maguire. The horse that I'm really intrigued about is No Time Like Now. You only have to go back to Cup Day last year where he won the last race, paid enormous odds for Graham Court. And he said, I've always liked this horse. He's got a very, very big motor, and he actually bolted in that race. He didn't just win it, he bolted in. His trials have been really good, Darren. He's won his last 2, beating a Better You in both of those. A Better You's come out and gone a good race last week, although beaten by Sporty Charlie. So I think No Time Like Now off the front. He hasn't had a win from the stand, but I'm not worried about that. I reckon he can go close for a sharp here. So I'm actually going to put him on top. So I'll go with the 4 ahead of BD Joe, the 8, 7 Mikey Maguire, and Cheezel is always Cheezel. You just leave her out and she'll lob in and upset your trifecta's first 4s and maybe even win the race. So you probably want to have her in. But I'll go each way, No Time Like Now. No Time Like Now, of course, the son of the imported stallion Johnny Rock, a speedster for the court team out there at West Melton. Race number 6 is the Catholic Parish of Selwyn Mobile Trot, 1980, and we get underway at 8:11. We talked about last week's trotting performance and the excellent run by the Hope pair. You know, they both went great. And Majestic Man was good. Super Princess was 4th. Super Princess was 4th in that race. Look, I know she has started off the unruly over the 1980, but she's won 4 times and placed numerous times. And when she gets in form, Darren, this is what she does. She stays in form. So I reckon she can win this. I'm going to go for her on top anyway. Ahead of Trixton Time, who loves a mobile 1980. He'll take some beating again. I think Carter Dalgety will be pretty positive, and that'll give Trixton Time an excellent chance. La Reina del Sur, flat is to deceive at times, but she keeps on picking up money, and she'll keep on doing that, I think, here. And Martha Stewart, part of the Jason and Ian Thomas team that seems to be racing so well for the last 6 to 8 months, or maybe even longer. I'll put it in for 4th, but I'll go each way Sue Princess. The problem with her, Darren, you're almost better off to go win Sue Princess, because she'll either do that or maybe she'll do something wrong.
Yeah, she can do things wrong, but when she's good, she's very good. Race number 7's the Maya Foundation Handicap Pace, one of the charities that we support here at Addington. 2,600 metres at 8:41.
Yeah, I think the run of Colin and Julie DeFilippi can actually continue here in the form of Better Believe It. Excellent down there at the Kurau meeting and behind Harrison in the Cup. Generally a very quick beginner, drawn out a wee bit too, I like. A couple of times when I've backed him anyway, he's drawn on the inside and he hasn't begun as quickly as what he can do. So I quite like him from there. I think he's on top for me. Better Believe It. Ahead of Tom Martin. I think Graham Court's putting together a pretty handy team around him at the moment, and they had a couple race last week that won't be hard to find in the upcoming week. So I'm happy to have Tom Martin in there. Catherine and brother John. Again, I go back to that Jeff and James Dunn scenario. If it steps, its modus operandi, Darren, is to lead, run, and keep on running. So they might try those tactics if that unfolds for them off the back of that fresh up run at Awamaru. But Better Believe It looks pretty well placed in the 7th.
The last race is the Diamond Racing Mobile Pace 1980, of course, the Dunn team with Diamond Racing, Robert and Jenna Dunn, and it gets underway at 9:08, Greg.
Yeah, I like Whiskey Cavalier. I've always liked him as a horse, and I think that he's really developed in the wee break he's had. He's a son of Sir Lincoln. He's trained by Kyle Cameron. A lot of respect around what he's doing with his horses, and yeah, I expect Whiskey Cavalier. It won't be easy from out there, but I thought he was excellent last time and behind Magic 4, and you're going to get a very good guide on how he goes in that 3-year-old race as to where Whiskey Cavalier's run sits. So I think it's a pretty good form guide for this. So I'll go each way on him. Giselle, Zachary Butcher doing the steering again for Matt Purvis. Excellent win, 2 starts back. Nothing wrong with the run last time. And behind Franco Norton, you've got to have her in. Tiger Taylor's racing great, comes out of the Magic 4 race as well, and has drawn in exactly the same spot as it did last time. And Steph's Boy, I thought he was a little bit disappointing last time. His first up run was excellent behind stablemate No Terror. I think he's a bit better than what that last start would indicate, so you might want to have him in too. But I'll go each way all day, Whiskey Cavalier.
Next week, of course, as we say, the Ordeal Trotting Cup, sponsored by Renwick Farms, and the Avon City Ford New Brighton Cup. So verging on a premier type meeting next week, and we're expecting a number of these horses to join the fray that have been trialling, and particularly the ones that are trialling today. We're going to go back to 2017 as we leave you with a video of the Ordeal Trotting Cup, which on this occasion was won by Destiny Jones for Dean Hunter. Greg, he loves his racing, Dean. He does a great job. The horses are always presented in great condition, and he got a real thrill out of winning a group race with one that he trained.
Yeah, exactly. And she was a good mare by the Prez, ultra consistent, lined up against the best. It took Dean all around the country, racing races like the Road Cup and the likes, and she never, ever let him down. And on this occasion, he got this group race win, and I'm pretty sure he'll be watching this, if he hasn't watched it hundreds of times already, over and over again.
We'll leave you with that. Have a good night punting on Friday night, and we're looking forward to the big meeting next week as well.
Donegal better, Gretsch driven up a bit in the trail from Destiny Jones. Ari is badly held up. Third quarter, 29.7. Petite One joined by Amaretto Sun. 2 lengths to Destiny Jones, letting down. Then came Hey Yo. Amaretto Sun, 100 to go leads. Destiny Jones, though, is swooping after him. Bell Sun late into third. It's going to Blenheim, the Ordeal. Destiny Jones won it. Beat Amaretto Sun, Bell Sun, and Aria. Late along the inside for 4th. Next over is Petite One from Hey Yo, Donegal Better Gretsch, Harriet of Bot Balmain. Here I come. Habibti Ivy retired in the last lap. There's so much to talk about. We'll start with the win of 11 Destiny Jones.